For more on this, we are joined by seismologist Dr. Lucy Jones. Dr. Jones, thank you so much for being with us tonight. Let's just start with putting this into context, if you could. How powerful was this earthquake in terms of what people felt, and for how long?
Right, so a magnitude 7.8 means a fault that's at least 200 or 300 kilometers long, and therefore shaking that goes on for 1 to 2 minutes. And it's the combination both of the intensity of the shaking and the long duration that tends to cause all of this level of damage. And we know that something like 4.5 million people were receiving at least intensity 7 shaking. Now that's intensity, not magnitude, but it's the type of shaking that really leads to damage even in some modern buildings.
You think about 1 minute. Oftentimes we have our earthquakes and it's just shaking for a few seconds, and how scary that is. 1 minute of shaking. So 7.8 magnitude quake obviously impacts people differently in different areas based off of building codes. We saw that massive earthquake in Fukushima years ago. Clearly they had a lot of problems because of the nuclear problems, but they didn't have as many problems because of the earthquake. Clearly, Turkey, Syria have some work to do in terms of building codes. What would this do here?
Turkey uses the same building code we do. It's called the International Building Code. Now, I think that some of the buildings may precede the time when the building code was enacted, and we have old buildings too that are built to earlier codes and therefore don't have the modern protections. But we shouldn't just blithely think that this can't be happening to us. They are using the same code. Obviously, there's the maybe the codes weren't fully enforced. It is an issue here in California, being sure that we're fully enforcing everywhere, and maybe somebody cheated. Maybe that happens with us too. So it's not as far away from us as we might hope it was.
Wow.
Yeah, that surprises me. If you could, so in other words, that incredible devastation that we're seeing there could very well happen here?
I don't think it'll be quite as extreme, but look at this sort of construction. This is what's called non-ductile reinforced concrete. You see those big concrete slabs. And if the corners of the buildings are not properly connected to each other, they get ripped apart by the earthquake. We saw it happen in the '71 earthquake with the collapse of the Allevue Hospital, and therefore our building codes changed and we got rid of them. Pre-1980 buildings still have this problem. And I don't think it'll be as widespread as for us, but it will be a real issue. One of the things is that this is what's called a strike slip fault or a transform fault, just like the San Andreas. And that means the fault that's producing the shaking comes all the way up to the Earth's surface in the biggest earthquakes. And that means some people are really right at the fault, and therefore are receiving really high levels of shaking. More than like the shaking that was received in Japan, even though it was a magnitude 9, people were farther away because the fault came to the surface offshore, and they didn't have such high levels of shaking as you can get when you're right next to one of these strike slip faults. So especially for communities in our California, like Palm Springs or San Bernardino or Palmdale, where they're literally on the San Andreas fault, they are going to be receiving very high levels of shaking, and especially older construction, I think we will see having a major problem.
For the newer construction, at the codes that we have, that you say Turkey has as well, would it be able to withstand a 7.8 magnitude quake?
Well, it's not the magnitude, it's the shaking. And our building code says when you get the worst shaking that you're likely to get, which for San Bernardino would be the San Andreas, our buildings should not collapse. But we fully expect and accept that they will be a total financial loss, that they will be so badly damaged they can't be repaired. And so that's what we call a life safety standard, that the only role of government is to make sure your building doesn't kill someone. And we expect, and we are, basically designing to have a lot of buildings that will be total financial loss. We have tried to I've been part of an effort to get us to switch to what we call a functional recovery building code, meaning that you can recover the function of the building, that it's repairable. And once we got it all the way through the legislature and it was vetoed by Governor Brown, the second round didn't make it all the way through the legislature. Most engineers, they know that they are designing buildings that are intended to be thrown away afterwards.
Wow. We have less than 30 seconds, but I'd like you to, if you could, quickly talk about the fact that even more important than an earthquake kit, perhaps, is getting to know your neighbors and having a plan, correct?
Right. You don't need a go bag because we're not going anywhere. We won't have it predicted. What you should really do, first thing, go talk to your family, to your neighbors, to your friends, to the people at your church and say, how can we help each other afterwards? Because the communities that recover are the ones that have strong connections between people and give them a reason to want to stay after the event.
Wow, such good advice, such good information from one of the world's leading experts on this topic. Dr. Lucy Jones, always a pleasure to talk to you, even if it leaves me feeling more scared. At least we know more information, and having more information is a good thing.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.